Welcome to our channel Twinflames Embrace. We are Paco and Déborah, Twinflames in Union. Today we talk about the number one magnetizer for your twin flame. What is it?
Boundaries.
What do we mean with boundaries?
And why does it sound so counterintuitive? You set boundaries and your twin flame feels more attracted to you? How does this work?
Yeah,
It's witchcraft.
because we are sharing with you in this video to learn to set boundaries out of self-love and out of compassion and not building walls anymore.
Yeah, like healthy boundaries. As I feel like the word healthy makes a difference.
Boundaries are healthy.
Yeah,
When you
when
are
it comes
doing
from
it
a place of peace.
when you are doing them from a place of peace and love.
Yeah, exactly. So why it's like boundaries so magnetizing to your twin flame? Why do they find this so attractive? And it's because basically you're valuing yourself. And when you do that, yum yum, that is really good for them.
Yeah, exactly. When we experience that mostly these days in the relationship you have with your son, with our son.
Yeah.
As in the past, you were a single mom, and so the boundaries were.
Yeah, you were kind of like in a situation where you have to be on and do almost everything, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. At least that was my experience. And since I have a very rooted like pattern of kind of like avoiding stuff and abandoning my own presence, then of course certain boundaries weren't well placed with him.
So in this relationship, you kind of overstepped constantly your own boundaries,
Yeah.
and he kind of
Took advantage of that.
yeah, he
opening
thought that
like,
it's
like,
normal. And the moment we came together, I immediately picked up when he is doing that, and I said clear boundaries here, because I learned before in my inner healing journey, also in my coming out as a transgender, that I have to set boundaries with myself. In that meaning that I had to learn to set boundaries with myself when I overstep my own boundaries, in when I'm taking thoughts or feelings from other person more valuable than my own.
Yeah, into more account than your own. Yeah, exactly.
Like, and also here, like we shared in a lot of other videos, everything you would like to change in your life, you have to start with it in yourself first. Setting boundaries is one of these things too.
Yeah, and like to get like even more clear, what is a boundary? And a boundary is basically like a code of conduct that you communicate to this other person, how you like to be treated. What do you find that it's that honors you for like who you are as a person? How do you like to be treated? It's kind of like an agreement. That's the word I was looking for. It's an agreement that you come to this with this other person, and they can choose to honor it or not. And like when you get into that point, you will get clear of how much you wanna allow this person into your life or not. But like you have to start somewhere, and so you.
Yeah, and that is also when you learn how to treat yourself. You kind of come to this agreement with yourself, and you set boundaries here. And we speak here about energetic boundaries first. This is an energetic thing in your feelings, where you set boundaries to an behavior pattern you had, like I shared already, where you kind of put the feelings from other person above yours. And you have to set a boundary with this pattern you have inside of your heart, in your feelings. And then sometimes you have to set a boundary also in the physical, outside, when you say a word maybe to a person, or when you first set a boundary with yourself in what you do. Maybe stop working after 12 hours a day, or stop working after 10 hours a day. It's enough to set a boundary.
Take a break.
Take a break, drink something, drink water. It is all setting boundaries with yourself.
Yeah, you're basically
in a healthy way.
Yeah, exactly. You're basically getting clear on what you find appropriate and what you don't.
Yes.
And that also, like Paco has been sharing, it starts with finding what we find appropriate to do to ourselves first, And then we can communicate this to another. Like if you are not treating yourself nicely and you're like saying to yourself all these nasty things, you cannot expect the world to treat you any like differently, basically. So this is why also we share so much about the mirror exercise now. They like helps us see where we are doing that to ourselves without sometimes knowing that we are like
exactly what I experienced with the teaching of Jeff and Shalia since the first Twinflame Ascension School I was watching, because with watching this class they always bring me to this place in my heart. With watching every class, every minute of every class I watch, I come to this place in my heart where I matter in my life, where I am valuable in my life, and where I learn to expand myself in my life more and more. Something totally normal, but we have to learn that again here on earth. And that is kind of with the first class I was watching, Twinflame Ascension School, I was able to realize how I would like to treat myself. That I have feelings, that my feelings totally okay, and that my feelings matter in my life. And there I started to set boundaries with myself, then with others, and more I feel good with doing that. And I learned that is something very cool I would like to share. Setting boundaries out of self-love and from a place of peace is not exhausting. Before I always set boundaries, but they felt like walls, so heavy, and I did it out of a state of being angry or upset with a situation, or I had fear, and so I set boundaries, but these boundaries were walls, where I separate myself more from the world. But with the teaching of Jeff and Shalia, I learned to be in contact with the world and have boundaries out of unconditional self-love and compassion for myself first. And when I do a boundary out of self-love, out of compassion for myself, and from a state of peace, I expand that automatically to the person around me.
Yeah, I had kind of like a similar experience that I wanted to kind of like add to this piece. And I learned it sort of in the hard way when I was 18. After coming out from a very abusive relationship, that was kind of like the spark that made me realize that there's absolutely nothing that we can do or not do that justifies us being mistreated in any way. And of course, again, like this starts like with ourselves. So the more we are able to go into these places and forgive ourselves for whatever past choices we made that we didn't like, or whatever decisions we felt were wrong ones, or anything, like with the teaching, we can forgive ourselves, and those boundaries that we are speaking come from a much more peaceful way. They can be sustained. I remember coming out of this relationship and saying, oh, I don't deserve to do this, but it was never like anchored in at the core of my being. And so these boundaries were like, they would last a couple of weeks or months at the best. And then truth was that when I came into the next relationship, I was able to hold these boundaries just for the first few months, and then they flew out of the window again.
And with the boundaries coming from your heart, from a place of peace, they are sustainable and
they expand. Like,
permanent.
Yeah, exactly.
And they expand and they grow in a very peaceful and loving way.
Because you are loving yourself in this way, your twin flame cannot but to reflect that.
And that is so attractive to your twin flame, you cannot imagine. The moment she started to heal a lot in the relationship with her son, she became so attractive to me. Extreme.
Thank you, Hannah.
More attractive.
Yeah, I know it.
And that is the cool thing with your twin flame. The attraction you have to each other grows the deeper you heal in your heart.
Yeah.
What is presenting when it's about boundaries? It's about boundaries.
Yeah.
Check out our website, twinflamesembrace.com. We would love to support you also in healing.
In this particular area, like don't be afraid to claim your value in this.
Exactly. Stay safe. We see us in the next video.